Hello and welcome back to the weekly Q&A. My name's Lumin and right now it's time to answer a whole bunch of questions in the dark. Because why the heck not? So this right here is my Skyrim and Metro light-in setup. I prefer to record those two games in the dark with just my face lit up, or at least mostly just my face. Sure, my upper torso has some light on it too, and you can kind of see it. But with the background slightly faded out, the face cam frame doesn't attract your attention too much. So it's easier to ignore if it's a little bit darker. That's my reasoning behind doing them in the dark. I don't know why I even explained that now. I just went off on a tangent. I'm here to answer questions. Jeez Louise. I'm talking about my face cam setup. So I had a lot of fun over the last day or two setting up some Cube World machinima and recording Cube World with Helene. It was a blast. Super fun. We did our first dungeon or instance or castle or whatever you want to call it, because I don't know what those things are meant to be like. I suppose you could just call it a mission. It was a mission. It's those crossed swords on the map that you got to run to, then you got to do something when you get to them. But I'm not sure what the others would be like because I've only seen that one. I have actually not even watched any gameplay videos or anyone else's Let's Plays where they came across those and did those missions. I have no idea what the rest are going to be like. But the one that we found was a pretty big castle, a pretty big and scary castle. It got much more scary when it got dark outside, that we got to explore fully with a whole bunch of mobs in and a boss at the end. And when we killed the boss, we got all sorts of rewards and platinum coins. Got no idea what those are for yet, but apparently they're really, really cool. Because the platinum coins text is written in the epic purple. So they gotta be good. They have got to be seriously good. So much fun. I'm loving Cube World at the moment. And the last couple of days, or at least the last week, has been a bit intense for me because I've been trying to get Cube World up every day, because for those that haven't realized, it has been a reasonably decent boost for the channel. I got a couple of extra subscribers. I was sitting at like, what was it, 19,300 or 19,200 and something for the longest time. The longest time, for like months. I was actually going backwards in subscribers, going down in subscribers. My subscribers were dropping and not increasing. And now finally Cube World was the one thing that's sort of pulled my channel back up. It's like, hey, Lumin, it's okay. I'm Cube World and I've got your back. Everyone likes watching me, so you should probably record me and upload me on a daily basis if you can. And I was like, yes, Cube World, I didn't think you'd be able to talk to me, but that sounds like a glorious idea. That was the exchange that happened in my head at some point over the last week, and I liked it. I also liked playing with Helene, and I can't wait to record more. Absolutely can't wait. Fellow by the name of Jimmy Tuck actually donated the game to her, and she was so happy. She was so happy to be able to join me. She sort of made a vow to herself that she wouldn't overplay the game and thus get bored of it. Because she kind of did that in Minecraft, or with Minecraft, and probably with Terraria as well, although the two of us spent so much time, an obscene amount of time, on Terraria regardless. We really did. I'm hoping Cube World's going to be able to fill Terraria's shoes, and then when Starbound comes along, we got even more. Wow, Starbound. I'm just sighing at the thought of all these amazing games coming out. It's overwhelming. It really is. I just read today that, and we knew that we were going to be able to have a band, a fully working band in Starbound, but I read today that they finished the vocals in Starbound, so now you can actually have a character singing. You can have your character play a guitar, or a flute, or violin, or the drums, or anything you want, and you can also have your character sing by pressing little buttons on your keyboard. I don't even know how that works, but I think it's absolutely amazing. I was telling Helene that it would be the coolest thing in the world if someone set up a Starbound band. For reals. They could call themselves the Shooting Stars. That was just the first thing that came to mind. Okay, they shouldn't call themselves that. Be creative. That's not so creative. That's a really generic sounding name. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. You can call yourself the Shooting Avians. The Avian Stars. Something with shooting and star, because it's called Starbound. Why? I don't know. But someone should set up a band in Starbound and like do regular performances on Twitch TV and stuff like that. Sell tickets to their shows in the form of subscriptions on Twitch TV. But they should really get good at playing music on Starbound. And then they should release YouTube videos and make it a thing. Do something different. Because that right there is different. And I can tell you for a fact, no one... I suppose some people may have thought of it, but no one has thought of taking it to the next level, becoming a professional Starbound band. Do it. You there watching now, thinking about doing it, do it. I would love to see that. And when you do get around to releasing your first single, hit me up. Let me know, and I'll pump it out for you. I'm super keen to see where that goes, and I'm done talking now. I want to answer some questions. Cube World, Starbound, bands in games. What is this world coming to? I mean that in the best possible way. Mr. Higgledy Piggle. I butchered that name. I apologize. I shouldn't have started this off like that. Should have at least read the name and made sure I know how to pronounce it. Mr. Higgledy Piggle. I think I got that right. Lumin, have you ever played any of the Witcher games? Sorry, I'm bad at reading. I have briefly played Witcher 2, and that's it. I think I jumped into Witcher 1 when it released, and I only did so on a friend's PC, and I was so frustrated by the controls of the game, the way it played, that I just couldn't get into it. But apparently with the enhanced edition, they fixed a lot of stuff, they smoothed a lot of things out, and it now plays a lot better. So the Witcher 1 enhanced edition seems like something that you could actually enjoy. But when it first came out, it wasn't quite as solid as it is now. And with Witcher 2, I only got to recently install and play it when I got my new PC. Because, believe it or not, it didn't even run playably in any way, shape, or form on my previous PC, which is standing over there. It just didn't work. And even on my new PC, I think if I crank everything up to the max, it sits on a solid 60 FPS. But I'm almost sure that if it gets like too crazy on screen, if a big battle starts out or something like that, or if there's a huge area that you can look down on, it'll probably drop a couple of FPS, drop a couple of frames here and there. You know, it's going to slow down a bit because that game is so graphically intensive that I feel a whole lot of people missed out on it, myself included, obviously when it released, because I just couldn't play it on my previous PC, unless I played it like all the way on the lowest. But I don't know, I don't really enjoy games quite as much when I can't crank the graphics at least most of the way up, just because it does make it that much more immersive if it all looks really good and really believable. Metro Last Light's a good example to use for something like that. I feel that if you play Metro on the lowest graphics, you're just not getting the same experience as playing it on ultra maximally high setting. You're just not getting the same experience. It'll still most likely be enjoyable, but it'll be completely different if you can play it maxed out. Anyway, I sort of dodged the question. I've played some of the Witcher games, but definitely not to completion. There you go. I'm thinking of having a look at them before Witcher 3 comes out. I just don't know if I've got the energy. Because I do know for a fact that Witcher 1 is a little older and it plays like a slightly older game, and not in a good way. We'll see. Boyka Forever, do you watch Supernatural? If so, what do you think about that series? Quite a big fan myself. I'm a big fan too. I've enjoyed everything that I've seen thus far of Supernatural, and we've seen all that's been released. So we watched the latest season to completion, and at the end, there's a spoiler incoming. The second I drop my finger, you can listen again. At the end, with those angels falling from the sky, and what was his name? Meta something or other, who sort of turned Castiel evil once again. Why is Castiel such a susceptible guy when it comes to people's mind tricks? I'm going to stop talking about spoilers now. But we watched that season all the way to the end, and I gotta say that it really did start getting a lot more enjoyable in the second half of that season, and the Felicia Day episodes, big thumbs up. Big thumbs up from me. I think she was in a total of 3 episodes, and what happened was, the first time around when they got her on, then their views, their statistics for that episode were so good that they immediately called her up again. And I only know this because I watch her Twitter. I'm following her on Twitter. I'm on the verge of stalking her on Twitter because I like Felicia Day. And they called her up right after that and they said, listen here, girl. Listen here, everyone seems to like you. It might have something to do with your millions of followers on Twitter and hundreds of millions of fans around the world. But hey, people watched this episode and we want you on back here again. So they got her back 2 more times after that. And those episodes were enjoyable. I'm a big fan of Supernatural. I am not a big fan of some of the drama that gets dragged out in the series. But when it's going, it's good to watch. So when it picks up steam and where there's something exciting happening, it's good to watch. If you haven't watched Supernatural before, don't be put off by Sam Winchester. Don't watch it for Dean. Dean is amazing. Dean is such a fun character. Everything that guy does, just the smallest things. I remember in the last episode of the final season that we watched, he just made a little face. They were talking about high school sweethearts, and Sam was saying, what should I repent for? And he was like, Dean said something about, there was this one girl, and then Sam was like, no, that was you. And he was like, huh. And then I just couldn't stop laughing at that. I don't even know. Dean is just good. Watch Supernatural. Evan John Klaus. I like your name. That's a strong name. And I don't say that often. I may say that I like names often, but I don't always say that they're strong. That one's strong. Hi Lumin, 2 questions. 1. Have you heard of Attack on Titan? And if so, what do you think of it so far? I have. I've heard of it, but I've not watched it. And I saw it on the most recent Polaris news episode. Polaris is the new TGS channel, and I'm going to talk about that close to the end. I think there's a question about it close to the end. Yes. The final question actually is about Polaris and TGS, so I'll talk about that there. But their new news episode, which is called The Daily Bite, that Dodger hosts, I saw her talking about it there, and I was like, maybe. Maybe I'll have a look at that because it seems kind of interesting, and people seem to be enjoying it. So yes, I've heard of it, but I've not watched it yet, so I can't really give you my thoughts or impressions. But I'd like to watch it, and when I do watch it, I'll talk about it. And you guys know that I'll talk about it, because I've been talking about Battlestar Galactica. That's something I'm watching right now. Anyway, there's one game on the original Xbox called Gladius, and it's a turn-based RPG. I was wondering if you could find that game on Steam, and would you consider playing it? I don't know if it's on Steam, and I actually Googled it when I saw this question pop up, because I had no idea what it was. I have not owned an Xbox in my life before, so if it was just on the original Xbox, then the chances are I would never have gotten around to playing it. But if it's a really fun game, I might do an adventure worthy of it. If it's actually somewhere available on PC, I don't know, maybe you got to use an emulator or something, but I don't know much about it. I had a look at it, and it just looked like an oldish RPG. Fable 1, maybe even older. I think because it's Xbox One, it's even older at the start of the Xbox One's lifespan. I don't know. It does seem interesting. I'll read up on it, and if I can find it somewhere, maybe an adventure with you, because I've been enjoying doing the older games, and after doing Silver was received reasonably well. Not amazingly well, not terribly, but well enough for me to think about doing another old game or a couple more old games to see how it goes. So maybe I'll do it in a nostalgia-worthy episode. Holy Ting Ting, what are your thoughts on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic online and the original one? So, when the beta for the Old Republic was up, we played it. I think both myself and Eileen played it a little bit. And I gotta say that, firstly, it it didn't run very well on my PC at the time. It wasn't optimized, and maybe my PC just wasn't as fast as it should have been, but the performance was a bit of a meh for me. And I don't like being one of those superficial people that worries about how the game looks or runs, but when it runs the same on the max settings and the lowest settings, always terribly, then it makes it kind of less enjoyable. Anyway, that aside, I haven't played it since launch, but I have been told that the performance issues were all sorted out. Apparently it runs amazing, it looks great, and I'll tell you that I love the graphical style of the game. It's sort of a less serious, realistic. It's not cartoony, but it's also definitely not trying to look super realistic. And then at the same time, it doesn't use the standard fantasy MMO look, which I'm really happy about as well. I like that. And I'd say those things alone make it fun for me to play, but what I really enjoyed the most was obviously the story, my character's personal story, and the personal stories that you go through. I'm not sure what they're called in the Old Republic, but the ones that you go through in the Old Republic are so much better than anything else I've seen out there. You can see it's real BioWare storytelling. The way they set it up, the way they seamlessly transition between the different story parts and stuff, way better than something like Guild Wars, for instance's personal story. And I know Guild Wars has a lot of variety when it comes to that, as does the Old Republic, but even Guild Wars' best personal story isn't really close to as good as the storytelling in Old Republic. Now, I'm not sure how the game actually plays when you get to max level or anything like that. I haven't played much of it. I played probably about 20 levels or something, which is not nearly enough to be able to give you full impressions on the game, but it's something that I'm kind of sad I didn't get into when it was a big thing, and it's something that I definitely hope sticks around, because I'd like to jump back into it at some point. The original ones, KOTOR 1 and 2, were some of the best games ever made. Truly, they were. I'm so sad that I don't have an iPad right now to download the new released iPad version of Knights of the Old Republic, because that game, it like stole a big chunk of my life away when it released. That's how good it was. It's one of those games that just sucks you in. And regardless of how it looks nowadays, because it's old, okay? Knights of the Old Republic 1, for instance, just hasn't aged that well, visually. So, if you jump into there today, you might be put off by how it looks, but the character customization, the storytelling, the combat, all of it is top notch. RPGs today can't match that. I don't even know if they're trying to match that. People don't seem to care about stuff like that. RPGs nowadays are not RPGs anymore. They action-adventure games or something like that. I don't even know. Okay, but it's been a while. I'm hoping that with Shadowrun Return coming out in, what is it, a week and a half, 2 weeks, that we're going to have a nice dose of old school, nostalgic, turn-based RPG action. Hoping, but I obviously can't be sure. Huge fan of Knights of the Old Republic. 1 and 2, amazing. Amazing. I haven't played them since back in the day when they released, because those were games that I got on day one and played from day one for an obscene amount of time. I loved them. I did. And you know what? I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I really am not. And I know a lot of people would probably hate on me for that. But I just never got into Star Wars or Star Trek. And those games, they made me interested in it. They really did. They made me appreciate all the creativity in the Star Wars universe. All of it. Anyway, let's move on. Unconsidered 1. Lumin, why do you prefer Steam as a game outlet? Is it just easier? Yes, that's pretty much it. I don't need to enter any payment details at all. I can just click buy and it buys. I have all my games in a nice user-friendly list that I can just access at the click of a button. Sure, it requires internet. And I will tell you right now, for everyone that's perhaps on my Steam friends list and never sees me online, I can't leave my Steam open, because when it updates, or when it downloads an update for a game or a patch or whatever, then it destroys our internet. destroys. Doesn't matter if I limit it, because I've got net limiter on my PC, and even if you limit it, for some reason, it just hogs the entire line, and it kills anything that was running. So if I had an upload running on my PC here, Steam starts a download on a game, then it cancels it immediately. Sure, it can pick up again, so if I stop that quickly, if I just pause the download in Steam, then my upload will quickly start itself again, because Google is super useful like that. It can recover those drops, or from those drops at least, but I can't leave Steam open all the time, which is kind of sad. And when I'm playing things for recording and stuff, when it's stuff like Skyrim or Metro or whatever else I record that's actually on Steam, then I usually go in offline mode anyway, because I can't have people whispering me while I'm busy playing. But when I do play games like Dota or whatever, then I set myself to public, because the more the merrier. That's what I always say. And I can't wait to jump back into Dota. I see Abaddon was added. But I don't get distracted now. Steam is great. Such a good service. The specials are super cool as well, obviously. Who's going to say no to the Steam Summer Sale? No one. The answer is no one. Everyone's going to buy everything and never play any of it. That's how it works. I have not bought anything yet. I spent money on Cube World for myself recently, and, well, I don't have enough excess lying around to buy things that I'm not going to play, so I'm trying to resist. It's difficult. It really is. But I'm trying. I'm trying my best not to buy games. Anyway. Oh, and we're saving money for... I said to Eileen, instead of buying... going out and buying Last of Us, which would cost us 600 Rand here. 600 Rand. And instead of buying GTA 5 when it comes out, which I really want to do for our PS3, we could save... that amount, so 600 plus 600, 1,200 Rand, that's already a big chunk of what a PS4 would cost. So if we don't buy those two games, we're that much closer to getting a PS4 when it releases. And you know what? I called it to Helena. I said that Rockstar are going to release GTA 5 on the Xbox One and on the PS4. The reason they haven't announced it for those two consoles just yet is just, I don't want to say a publicity stunt, but it's them being clever. So what's happening now is they are saying, listen here guys, GTA 5 is only coming to the Xbox 360 and PS3, so you'd better buy those consoles. You'd better buy those consoles right the heck now. Pre-order the game for those consoles if you've already got the consoles. Then, when the game's released, come September the 12th, GTA 5 release day, maybe they'll wait a couple of days. Maybe September the 20th. Maybe the end of September, they'll announce that GTA 5 is also coming to next gen. They'll announce that. Then, a whole another wave will start up where people will start pre-ordering the new consoles, pre-ordering the game for the new consoles, even though they already have them on the old consoles, and they'll once again restart the hype machine, once again restart that need in people's hearts to be able to play the game in the best possible way, and that would obviously be on the Xbox One or on the PS4, and it'll sell. So they're going to do that. They're going to first work it, and I think that's the best way of saying it. They're going to work it for the PS3 and Xbox 360, then they're going to work it for the PS4 and Xbox One, and it's going to work. Them working it is definitely going to work, and then after that, they're going to work it for the PC. They're going to work it for the PC, but they want all the PC gamers to first buy the consoles, and their game on the console before they buy it on the PC as well. They're so clever. Rockstar are geniuses. Geniuses. Where were we? I can't believe it. No, I'm going to hurry this along now. I'm on like the 5th question. Adventures of Lapis. Hey Lumin. My question for the monthly Q&A is, I've kickstarted Divinity Original Sin, and they've opened up their pledge management system today. Now, one of the rewards I've got is a message in the woods, i.e. a chance to put a personalized message in the game for all to see. That is a very cool reward. Since I can't think of anything, how about you or everyone else watching the Q&A decide? I was thinking maybe Warm Sands. That's a good thought. Maybe you could make it Warm Sands Adventurer. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe go back to Skyrim, look on the wiki, and find the full line that the Khajiit say. May warm sands always be under your feet. Is it that what they say? I can't remember. Or perhaps someone watching the Q&A right now has something brilliant that they'd like to offer up for use. Do it. Do it. But other than that, I have no idea what you could put on there. I'd say put something personal on there. Personalized for yourself. Something that you could recognize when you're playing the game yourself, or others could recognize when they're playing it and think of you. So if you've got a friend that jumps in and he sees that there and he'll be like, hey, I know whose that is. And they'll think of you. Think of it like that. Leave it there to be your legacy in Divinity Original Sin. Then, Dr. Yiggles. Hi Lumin, glad you're doing well. I am. I'm doing okay, although I had a pretty tough day. I had way too little sleep last night, woke up early, went to the gym, which was pretty hardcore, it was leg day today. Then I walked Nero in the rain, and I showered, and we ate and stuff. And I recorded some Skyrim, edited some videos, now I'm recording the Q&A. And it's cold. It's kind of cold as well, but I'm doing well. Doing good. Hoping you don't get sick ever again. I'm hoping the same. Question. I was wondering if you drank tea or coffee. If you could choose one of those, which do you prefer, tea or coffee? I myself am a tea drinker, and I was just curious which you like more. I'd say that, especially at the moment, I am definitely a coffee person, and I can appreciate a good cup of coffee. I can appreciate that. I have not come across a better tasting tea than the ones that we have here. You know, to me, that's the thing. That's where the rub lies in. Coffee can be like really, really good or really, really bad. And you can taste the difference between a good coffee, a well-brewed coffee, or a good bean. But you can't taste the difference between a good tea or a bad tea. Maybe it's just me that can't taste the difference, and that's obviously why I prefer the coffee. But I enjoy coffee more at the moment, and I do definitely drink both coffee and tea. For the most part, we drink cheap instant coffee, but not the very cheapest. So it's like middle of the road kind of instant coffee. And sometimes we make filter coffee. And when we go to my parents on the farm, we use their coffee machine as much as we possibly can. They've got one of those Roger Federer coffee machines that makes a super good cup of coffee, and I like it. I like it a lot. But that's it. I'd say I'd call myself a coffee drinker because I can appreciate a good cup of joe. Now, Rithmore Vernus. Lumin, I was wondering if you're going to perhaps record Dark Souls. Also, do you think it would be possible for you to give Dark Souls 2 a look when it's released? Yes. Yes and yes. I only recently got my... It's here somewhere. I'll find it. I'm sorry, Nero. Nero doesn't like me looking through the drawers here. I only recently got the PS3 controller working on my PC, and it's going to be super weird. It was basically just as simple as plugging the USB cable in here, and then in there. So in that little plug there, and then in there, and it detected it as a controller, but then you got to install a tool. I call it a tool because it's called DS3 tool. You got to install that for it to recognize the drivers, and then you can use it in pretty much anything. And I was going to record both Dark Souls because I tried it with my mouse and keyboard and it just felt bad. Like really, really bad. I was going to record Dark Souls when I got a chance, and I was going to record Rogue Legacy when I got a chance, because both those look like a lot of fun. And it's such an interesting experience for me to play with the controller on my PC. Because I'm obviously a bit of a newbie when it comes to using the PS3 controller, as I don't really play that much on our PS3. So it's different. And I like it. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be very weird. I'm going to move my stuff out of the way, like my keyboard out of the way. And I'm going to try and not bump things around, because I might get very animated with the controller in my hand. It's just different. Because I don't need to stay grounded. I'm going to probably be going like this when I jump. That's how my parents played our TV games back in the day. I love it. I love it. But yes, I'd love to give both of those a look at some point. 70s class. Cheers. Hope you all have refreshments of your own. Now, Scream. I think that says Scream. It's a Z, a C, a R, a 3, a 4, and a M. It could be Scream. Scream. Have you tried out LOL? I think he meant to type League of Legends here, but it came out as Lord of Legain. I think it's League of Legends. Okay? Have you tried out? If you haven't, please do, because I think you'd like it. And please tell me what you think about it in your next Q&A. I have tried League of Legends. I've played about 3 games with Helene, and I prefer Dota 2. It's difficult to say, because I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but Dota 2 is more my kind of game, and when I play League of Legends, I feel like there's something limiting me, and I'm scratching my eye, something fierce here. I feel like there's something limiting to it, a limiting factor to League of Legends that I just can't get over. I don't know. And for some reason, Dota just feels more solid when you play it. It feels like a more solid engine, and the experience itself is just more solid. Don't ask me why I think that, but I came from a Warcraft background. I played competitively Warcraft 3, both Reign of Chaos and Frozen Throne, and obviously in that time when I played those 1v1s, those ladder games and the 2v2s and stuff, I came across Dota. I played it a couple of times, the original Dota, and I started there. So the transition from that into HON into Dota 2 meant that League of Legends just felt very foreign to me. I don't know. But that's what I think of League of Legends, and I still want to at some point get an adventure-worthy out for it. I don't know. Maybe it won't be an adventure-worthy, because when I call things adventure-worthies, then I tend to want to put too much effort into them. And I think with League of Legends, I could potentially just jump in and play it, and the video itself would be entertaining and informative enough to be worth uploading on my channel. Same could be said for, what was it? Dawngate. I might just jump into Dawngate, play a game or two, record them, upload them, and let it be like a mini-series. Something like that. I don't know. There was another game that I wanted to have a look at that was going to be a mini-series instead of just an adventure-worthy, but I can't remember it right now. If I do remember it, I'll let you know. Polaris, in preparation for Inquisition, would you ever consider playing Dragon Age Origins? I just picked it up at BT Games for 50 Rand, and I've been enjoying it immensely. The various choices, etc. you'd make in the game would be cool to watch. I played and finished Dragon Age Origins back in the day. I think, did I finish? I don't even know. Maybe it was Helene that played and finished it. I can't remember. And I did enjoy it. Every single second of the way was fun. I don't even know what Dragon Age 2 was. I suppose most people would say that, it's not really a Dragon Age game. I'd be inclined to agree with them because I just couldn't get into that. It just didn't feel fun in the least. But I will say that I would consider playing it again, but the chances are I would just release either an adventure-worthy or an impressions type video or something like that if I was planning on playing Inquisition. And 50 Rand is a really good deal. That's like a meal at Steers or McDonald's. Good deal. Get a lot of enjoyment out of Dragon Age Origins. I don't think you'd get that much enjoyment out of a McDonald's meal. Perhaps while you're eating it, but afterwards you'd feel so bad and you'd think it just wouldn't be worth it. Especially not if you compare it to whatever, the 30 hours you get out of Origins. Chronic Ninja. Lumin, I have a couple of questions for you. 1. Which of the Final Fantasy games have you played, if any, and what are your thoughts about those games? I've played 1. I've got 2 and 3 on my phone. I have 1, 2, and 3 on my phone as well, actually, all 3 of them. But I've played a good amount of 1, and I might just stop. I might just stop playing 1 because it's not fun. I'm sure that if you use a guide or a walkthrough or something like that, it could potentially be fun, but it actually didn't age quite as well as some of the others. I think from Final Fantasy 3 and up, so 3, 4, 5, etc., they all play really well, even given their age. But 1 and 2, I don't know about 1 and 2. I played 1. I played... Wow. I'm embarrassed to say. I played 1. I played 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, not so much 12, and 13, and 14. And I'm going to play 15. So I suppose from 7 and up. And I finished 7, I finished 8, I finished 9, I finished 10. 10 was... I know a lot of people hate on Final Fantasy X, but it was an amazing experience to me. So much fun. And back when it came out, it was visually something special. It really was. And obviously I enjoyed 7, 8, and 9. I've said before that 8 is probably my favorite of the lot, just because of how immersed I was when I played it. Maybe it was the time, like the period of my life that I was playing it in, that made me enjoy it more. But I'd say that 8 is probably the one that I connected with the most. But I think that 7 is probably the best. If you had to just say which one, 7 would be the one that I would recommend to someone and say, like, if you want the true Final Fantasy experience, the classic Final Fantasy experience, you jump into 7. Because there's a good story, a solid story, interesting characters, there's a lot of fun stuff to do, especially once you get onto the world map. A lot of fun stuff to do. I would recommend that as the one to play, and it's on Steam now. It's on Steam. I hope that goes on special during the summer sale. I doubt it's going to, but if it does, wow, I'd seriously consider picking it up. I would. Just because of the ease, once again. It's so much easier playing a game through Steam. Anyway, those are the ones that I played. I did actually also enjoy 13 a bit. It was a little bit too linear. I played about, I must say about 10 hours or something, but apparently only like 20 hours in or something ridiculous like that do you get to the open world part of the game. So I played the first part where you're in that big, is it called Cocoon or the Cocoon or whatever it was? I played till just where we left that thing, or we were about to leave, and then I stopped. And I stopped because we moved, and I think because I started doing commentary on YouTube. I can't remember, but I was super excited back when I got Final Fantasy 13, and it didn't disappoint. Felt like a Final Fantasy game, if a slightly more linear one than usual, but I enjoyed it. There's once again just a lot of hate directed towards that game and some of the others in the series, but 7 was really good, 8 was really good, 9 was amazingly good as well, 10 was great, super good, 11 was the MMO, which I didn't play very much of, but was pretty good. The whole series is just good. Just good. I know that's not very descriptive, but it was a good series. You should play some Final Fantasy games if you haven't already. Do you plan on posting any Elder Scrolls Online if you play it? Because I'd really like to see you do so. Ormsands. This is also still from Chronic Ninja. I do. I was toying with the idea of dropping Skyrim when Elder Scrolls Online comes out, but I'm not sure about that because it all depends on how much of Skyrim I still need to get done when that actually comes out, or how far I am or whatever. But I'm hoping that ESO plays as good as Skyrim does. Gives me the Elder Scrolls experience. Oh, shame. Nero's trying to get out the door. He's actually trying to get out the door right now, and I'm going to let him out. You stay right there. Good boy. Good boy. I'm sorry. There you go. There you go. It's a good man. Shame. So he's gotten a bit bigger. He's not a little puppy anymore. He's fully grown now. And he can't really get out of the little hole in the door properly anymore. He can. Last night, I held a cookie for him on the one side and he squeezed through, but we need to enlarge it. So we're going to take another pane of glass out and make it like a double hole so he can easily get through there, because shame. The guy needs quick and easy access to the outdoors. Anyway, I'd like to play Elder Scrolls Online. I will probably record stuff once I'm allowed to. I'm not in the beta or anything like that. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that, but I just did it. Once I get in there and I'm allowed to post footage or whatever, I'll do it. Hobbit with 2 T's, 4999. Lumin, would you ever consider making a Let's Play series of older games like Morrowind or Gothic 3? I don't know. It's always such a difficult choice. Now, older games, perhaps, but games like those, which are really big, long, epic adventures, I just don't see myself doing that. Adventure-worthy, maybe. Jumping in for a little bit of gameplay, but not a full gameplay, not a full playthrough or Let's Play series, because it would be too time-consuming, and I wouldn't want to start something up that I can't consistently keep up. I'm already struggling so much with just Skyrim, Metro, Cube World, Newsman, Adventure-worthy, and everything else I'm doing, that it would be too much for me to add something now. So I can't say I wouldn't in the future, but the chances are slim. Alec Corvin, Dear Lumin, based on what you know about the skill class system in Elder Scrolls Online, do you have any combinations you'd like to try out? I'm personally looking forward to using a bow and conjuration magic. Interesting. I recorded Skyrim today, and I said in Skyrim that I'm definitely going to try something with a shield at some point, but what you got there is also kind of interesting. I would like to use a bow or ranged weapon along with something like illusion magic or alteration, one of the two. Just because that's something I wanted to do from the start in Skyrim, never got around to doing, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind trying something with a shield, so it could perhaps be spellcasting with a shield, but that's a little bit boring. Got a spell in the one hand, shield in the other hand, that's what so many people already do. I don't know. I just imagine playing something like a cleric type class, heavyish armor, restoration magic, shield. That could be a lot of fun. That really could be. So you could be like a tanky healer. I don't know. I haven't really had a look at everything that's available, but if it is like Skyrim, then the chances are I would want to use something like a bow, but then again, on the flip side, it might be difficult to do that in an online game. Sure, in Skyrim I can do my little trick shots and stuff, but there's no latency involved. So, it's much easier to hit those long shots. It's much easier to judge where you need to shoot if it's a moving target, and in Elder Scrolls Online that might not be the case. So I'd have to actually jump in to see for myself. Then again, I'm actually a big fan of the destruction magic. So maybe I'd go pure spellcaster, like glass cannon spellcaster. That could be fun. Anyway, next up. Where was I? Trevor Sherwood. Lumin, my question this week is an easy one. What's your favorite food? I was discussing this with Eileen earlier, and I'd have to say that every food is my favorite food. No, but if I had to name something, I just like eating. Okay? I'm not a picky or fussy eater. I eat anything and I enjoy it. Well, most anything. But if I had to pick something, I'd say that sushi. Super, super good. I love sushi. Sweet potatoes, licorice, chips. Now, we were talking about this as well, and it came to us that those of you in the US might not know the kind of chips we like. The kind of chips we like are called slop chips. And they are, I've explained this before in a Q&A, they're not the same as your McDonald's French fries or whatever. They're not hard. They're potato chips, but they're soft. So they're like McDonald's chips, slightly thicker and soft. Then they serve it with salt and vinegar. It's what you'd get when you order a good parcel of like fish and chips. So those of you in the UK might know them. I don't know if it's the same there. I've never had fish and chips in the UK. But those type of chips, they're good. I love them. I like burgers as well. Who doesn't like burgers? Lasagna. It's been too long since I've had a good lasagna. Those are some of the things that I like. I'd say sushi is all the way at the top though. With licorice a close second. Or maybe with it at the top, because licorice is actually a sweet. I don't know if you'd consider that a food. Anyway. Next. Boyka Forever again. Who are you subscribed to if it ain't a secret? It's not a secret. No. Let me have a look. I don't know if I can really go through the list right now, the entire list, because I'm subscribed to a whole lot of people. But I think he also asked, and why are you subscribed to these people? So at the moment, I would say that the one person that I'm watching the most is actually Force. I don't know why, but you know, I just feel that his videos are the kind of videos that I can actually watch from start to finish and kind of enjoy because they're informative, and when he looks at a game, he's not too cynical about it. He didn't go too easy on it. He's knowledgeable enough to know the ins and outs when he's actually playing the game, and he's knowledgeable enough to give good commentary over it. I just enjoy his videos, and sometimes he's a pretty funny guy. So if I had to go from the top, I will just tell you a couple of the big ones. Now, I'm subscribed to a whole lot of game companies. So at the top right here, you can see 2K Games, Abby Games, Adhesive Games. These are just, there's Almost Human Games, like a whole bunch of those, which I'm not going to mention from this point on. There's Bethesda, there's Blizzard, all of those. I subscribe to them because I need those videos that they release for my news episodes and stuff like that. And they don't release videos often enough to clutter up my subscriptions window. So let's go from the top. Okay? And now I don't watch all the videos all the time that these people release. So I just pick and choose the ones I'm in the mood for. And I watch them when I'm in the mood for them. But some of these people I did subscribe to because I think, hey, these are people that I want to support because they make good videos. Now, I'm not going to mention them all once again. I'm just going to mention a couple of them. So from the top here, let's see. Oh, and I've got some Vivos as well. Here's 30 Seconds to Mars Vivo, which I'm going to unsubscribe from like right now, live on air, because they have not been releasing any good music. What? It's not letting me unsubscribe. Seriously? They don't want me to... What the heck ever. So, I'm subscribed to Avine. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Her channel's called Avine Lulz Time. Angry Joe Show. Apollo SC2. Arnold Schwarzenegger. AppSpy. I like AppSpy's iOS reviews. They do good. And because I do play games on my phone from time to time, it's nice seeing what they're all about there. Bad lip reading. Those guys are hilarious. They truly are. Let's see. Cox and Crendor. Craft Chest is here. These are boring. There's Cyborg Matt. He does the Dota videos. He does some pretty messed up stuff sometimes. I'm subscribed to Dexterity Bonus. Dopefish. The Dota 2 channel's there. Let's see. Felicia Day, which... I don't know if she even uploads videos on Force ESO, Force Strategy Gaming, Force SC2 Strategy. So many different Force channels. His videos are mainly just on Force SC2 Strategy though. Game of Thrones, Gamer MD83. These are people that I'm subscribed to. I'm not going to go through why I'm subscribed to all of them, but, you know, I guess I could give you a couple. Dopefish is super funny. His videos are just so randomly hilarious that he's well worth watching. Gamer MD, she knows so much about the games she covers, and she's just a genuinely good person to watch. She's real when she's in front of the camera, and I like that. I really do. Not a lot of people are, okay? She is. Let's see what else there is. Geek and Sundry, don't watch too many of their videos. I don't know why I don't. Hit Record, which is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's channel. Interesting. Yeah, I'm subscribed to Husky. I'm subscribed to I Am Right Panda. That's Helene. I don't know if she's actually uploaded anything. Has she uploaded something? No, she hasn't. I don't know why I'm subscribed to her. What a waste. Irrational Games. Jack's Films. I watch him from time to time, but you got to be in the mood for that. Jesse Cox is obviously here. Creparian is here. I look at his videos every now and then. He's a little bit too hardcore for my liking, but you know, he's okay. He's not bad. What else? Mintchip LOL. I like Mintchip. She's good. She's really good. MMO Champion WoW, because why not? Mindflame is here. Philip DeFranco. Peter Molyneux. Play Hearthstone. Play Starbound. Pokemon. Polaris. Press hard to continue. Random Panzer, which is Trade Chat's other channel. Yes, it is. Yep. Let's see what else. Robaz. Robaz is super funny. Love his videos. Rockstar Games is here. Rosanna Panasino. She's there too. What else do we have? SourceFed. I subscribe to SourceFed. I watch their videos every now and then as well. It's usually just when it's an interesting piece of news, something that looks like it could be fun to watch. And I'll check it out. What else is there? Team 4-Star. They do the Dragon Ball Z parody videos. Check that out if you were in the least interested in Dragon Ball Z at any point in your life. Well worth it. The game station's here. The Rock, obviously. T.I.Y. Uri, who's the guy who makes Starbound. T-Uri. I don't know how to say that. Then there's Tobuscus and Toby Games and all those. I don't watch Toby Turner too often, but he is entertaining. He's good at the gameplay commentary, and his Tobuscus videos are all generally really good. Like his literal traders and stuff. Total Biscuits here, Trade Chats here. Then a few other games like Wildstar, Witcher, Wolfire Games, Walle's obviously here. Wow, Krendor. Then a couple of Yogscast people, which I don't really watch very much at all. I was interested in Yogscast Kim when I first started watching her videos, and I was so shocked by how many subscribers she got. She's been on YouTube for a month and a half, and she's got 170 or 180,000 subscribers. That's gonna make a guy jealous. Can only take so much of it. And there you go. That's just a couple. There are a lot of them. I don't know what the total number is. Let's see if I can see the total number somewhere. Go to the homepage. I think it's 160 something. 160 something. About. But those were a couple. That's like a little taste of what I've got there. I did miss a couple. I did miss a few there. But there you go. Now, Hunter Roland. My question is, would you ever play Planetside 2 again? I really love to watch you play. Planetside 2, I will probably jump into at some point again, but I'm waiting for them to release something big, to do something big and different that makes it interesting to jump back into. I realize I didn't look at the third continent yet, but I might. I might someday. I'm definitely not going to rule that out, because it's a series that I had running already. It'll be easy for me to just pick it up again and, like, you know, continue where I left off. Commentary might be a bit different, a bit better, who knows, but I'll still enjoy it the same amount. That's for sure. Klebe. Welcome back to the Q&A. As always, your name is lovely. I just like saying Klebe. Makes me think of heroes. Good times. Dear Lumin, have you had a chance to get your hands on a copy of Starbound soundtrack? It's an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, and it would do well in your collection. Yes, it's in my collection. I used it on one of my Cube World videos, and I actually think you commented on that very same video and said, hey, you used the Starbound soundtrack, good on you. So yes, I have actually listened to it, and I like it. I do not like it as much as I like Chrono Trigger's soundtrack, but I don't like any music as much as I like Chrono Trigger's soundtrack. So that's not a surprise, but it's good. And now I'm browsing something here because I wanted to say that it ties in to what I said before about Starbound's band thing. Here is a work in progress Starbound singing video. I'm going to turn the volume up so you can hear. Listen to that! My goodness! It's amazing! It's so good! Ah, close it. Okay, scratch that. Me saying you guys need to start a band. I'm starting a band. I'm going to start a band when Starbound comes out. I'm going to be the lead singer. Maybe I'll play the guitar as well. I don't know. That just sounded so cute. So cute. Oh, it's infuriating. I need to do it now. That video is on... Is it on Play Starbound or on that TIY dude's channel? I'll try and remember to link it below. If I don't, just leave me an angry comment saying, Lumin, you forgot. But there you go. I have listened to the soundtrack and I loved it. It was good. Molder22, hi Lumin, 2 questions. What are your thoughts on the Foundry quests in Neverwinter Online? I think when you played in closed beta, they weren't active yet. So I know what they are. He explains here as being basically quests or whole series of quests made by other players with the very deep in-game editor. Excuse me. So, I both like it and don't like it. I remember actually seeing the Foundry being online when I was playing, and when I saw it then, it wasn't very well moderated. Like, there was a whole bunch of junk in there. So if that's been fixed, then I think it would be a really great thing. But I do think it's super cool. Because there are lots of people that know how to use these editors and level creators and campaign creators incredibly well. So they would be able to benefit from doing this. And I just hope that if they make something good enough, they'll get some form of compensation from Cryptic or whoever it was that made Neverwinter. Because a lot of people put a lot of effort into these things, these series or these quests or these campaigns that they set up, and sometimes they just don't get the recognition they deserve. But I really do like it, and I think it's great that they allow players to have at least a bit of choice in what's going on, a little bit of a say in what happens in the game world. Sure, it's actually separate from the game world, but you get to tell a story that could be part of the game world. It could be related in some way. So that's fun. That and the fact that the content that you get in the Foundry could potentially be better than the content that the guys who made the game release. It's highly possible. Highly possible. It's so highly possible that my lips are dry. I don't know why. It's the weather. The weather. Because I'm starting to approach the end of the Star Wars series by Timothy Zahn. They take place after the events in the movies, and they're surprisingly great. I was wondering what other things I could read next, and I remember that you mentioned the books from R.A. Salvatore a few times. What reading order would you recommend? Because chronologically, you would start with the Dark Elf trilogy, and then Icewind Dale trilogy, but I heard a lot of people saying it was best to start reading on the Icewind Dale trilogy first. And wait, before I do that, I'll read the rest of this. They were written first, and in them, the character of Driss is very much a mystery, and the reader is slowly left to uncover the mystery by his actions, and it is, as such, great fun. But when you start reading chronologically, you miss all what makes it so special. I don't know if that's a fact. So I read the first book in the Icewind Dale series first. Yes. But then I stopped. Because I was super interested. No, actually, you know what? Scratch that. I read 1,000 Orcs? Is it 1,000 Orcs? So I read one of the later books first. Then I went back and I read one of the Icewind Dale books. Then I went all the way back and I decided, because I like the series as much as I do, I'm going to read all of them. But I do think, and I will tell you this, that quite honestly, to me, the first part of the first book was a bit dull. Because they give you a lot of history in there. They give you a lot of background information. They just give you a lot of stuff, a lot of knowledge that you got to cram in here. And at some points, it is a bit slow. So I would say it does kind of make sense reading the Icewind Dale trilogy. But if you're a good, quick reader, it will work out really well. Like, if you can read the Icewind Dale trilogy in, like, a short enough period of time and then start on the, what is it called again? The Dark Elf trilogy soon after that, and finish it soon after that, then it'll be cool. It'll be great. Because then it'll all be still, like, completely fresh in your mind, and it won't be much of a problem remembering what happened, and you won't need to reread that set of books. Because I think I remember myself having to read the Crystal Shard, might have been the first book, I can't remember, or was it the Halfling? No, I can't remember. But I had to read the first book in the Icewind Dale trilogy again. Because I couldn't remember what happened, and it takes me like a good couple of months to read each book. But if you had to start on the first Dark Elf trilogy, then it would only really make sense if you're a fast reader, and you're not going to get like put off by all that information, background, lore, and history that they throw at you. Because it's very interesting if you know what they're talking about and referring to, if you've played your Dungeons and Dragons games, if you've perhaps read the Icewind Dale series, then it's a lot of fun. If you're into that kind of thing, it's a lot of fun. But if you're not, and you're trying to get into it, then you rather start on the Icewind Dale series. That's what I think. Also, if you want something else to read, I could recommend the series with Canticle as a book in it. It was another series by R.A. Salvatore, and I'm going to tell you what it is. R.A. Salvatore... What's the series called? I shall tell you in a mere moment. The Cleric Quintet. I think that's what it's called. And these books were a lot of fun as well. They were slightly more mature, but I feel that the writing style, his writing style, it worked for this. Because, let's be honest here, the Forgotten Realms books in general are slightly more childish than some others out there, but that's what makes them fun. That is what makes them fun. They are light-hearted in the way that they're written. For the most part. There are some really deep and depressing moments in some of the books, but I'd say that for the most part they are much more light-hearted and easier to read and digest. But the Cleric Quintet is a lot of fun, and I recommend it. And then another author that I'd recommend is Steven Erikson, who wrote the Malazan series. That's intense. If you start reading that, be prepared to be blown away. Because the story, the web that he spins with his books is just so wide that you're gonna struggle to comprehend everything that's going on. But that makes it good, and it is once again just a really good, like, I suppose you could call it dark fantasy series. So check that out. Steven Erikson, Malazan, Book of the Fallen. I think that's the series name. Then, Storm AX. Lumin, you're my favorite YouTuber. And I can't talk anymore. So I don't know why I'm your favorite. Thank you. I wish I was as enthusiastic and happy as you. Do you have any tips? Not really. I don't know. It's so difficult, you know, because every single person out there would have different reasons to be happy and to enjoy their life, or to not be happy or not enjoy their life, or that have different issues in their life that need to be resolved for them to enjoy their life. But I'd say focus on the good things. Do that. Focus on the good things and enjoy everything you do. I know that sounds like such a generic thing to say, but some people take life way too seriously. And it should be taken seriously, yes, but not every single part of it. When you're doing something for fun, have fun doing it. That's it. I'm having fun doing this right now. Just putting that out there. Rob Name. That's a funny nickname. Hi, Lumin. As you are part of TGS, I've seen they've announced a new channel, Polaris. I was wondering if you would contribute there. It seemed to be a mashup of YouTube personalities. Cheers. So Polaris is just a rebranding of TGS. I think they're going to work TGS out entirely. And I think that said, it's going to be mostly the same thing. They're going to have most of the same stuff on there. They just wanted to rebrand their name and like start over. I think the problem was that the game station sort of made it sound like it was just about games. But it's not. There's also comic book stuff and artsy stuff and other stuff. I don't even know what kind of other stuff. Okay, most people don't like the name Polaris. I don't mind it. And I'm going to be rebranding my channel to Polaris once they release the assets to us. They said it was coming at some point. But as for me contributing there, I don't know. I'd love to get back on the Game Station podcast, which will probably be called the Polaris podcast at some point. And I will speak to Total Biscuit about that when I get a chance or when I'm ready for it. But other than that, you know, I will offer my services. I've said this before. I'll tell them that I'm available. But the chances are that it'll work in much the same way as TGS worked, where they just use the big YouTubers. So we'll have to see. You know, I'll obviously just hold thumbs and hope that I'll get in somewhere there and it'll help me out, boost my subscriber count, get me new viewers, get people to watch my videos, enjoy them. I always just love having more people watching and enjoying my videos, because so many of them take so much effort, take so much time, and I put every ounce of love that I have and every ounce of effort that I have into some of them, and then so few people see them. So if I can, help out with Polaris and benefit from it as well, then I'd love to do that. But that's the end of the list of questions that I've got here, and that's gonna be it for this episode of the fortnightly Q&A. I'm not going to call it that. It's going to stay the weekly Q&A for now, and I'll try to get it out as often as I can, but we'll see. So if you have any questions, leave them as comments, and I'll get to them in the next Q&A. I think I answered every single one here, which is what I usually do. So then, that's it. Check back soon for more. Most importantly though, have a good weekend, and happy leaving those comments. Or questions. Or questions as comments. Happy that.